in the hot tub, David.
That was so funny.
No,
Sorry.
that was wind, I'm afraid. I was in a vehicle. Nothing that relaxing.
Nothing exciting. Okay, I just started recording on the recorder. Do you guys want this to live stream? I know typically it doesn't matter. It's entirely up to you guys. I am recording for the Facebook post or for the newsletter, all that. I'm leaving it up to you guys at your guys' meeting.
Let the people in.
Do you guys want it live? Diane,
Well,
you're
Madam
on.
Chair should decide, but that's my opinion.
No, this is fine. The recording is fine.
Perfect.
We don't need the live stream.
Okay.
All right. You guys are recording, so Diane, take it away.
So this is the finance meeting for 10/13, 2020. We have present our committee members, Councilman Berger and Councilman McNamara, and we also have our fiscal officer, Leah, and Kim Pulley, as well as the, is Joe's?
Yeah, Joe's on here somewhere.
Joe, Councilman Kroll and the mayor, so Mayor Hughes. So I think that's it. Although I don't see Joe. Okay.
He's on there. Too many.
He's in there. Just not-
There. Oh, there he is. All right. So anyway, hello, Kim. Welcome.
Hello.
So I think what we'd like to do is have you just at this point go ahead and take the lead and tell us what you would like to.
Do you want to start with any 2020 stuff before getting into 2021 stuff?
I think so, yes. Let's do that.
And I'm not sure what exactly 2020 stuff that we want to talk about. I know the mayor had said something about a few things, but I didn't get a chance to listen last night, so I'm not sure.
Well,
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Diane.
I think we had a few items there. There was the, we wanted you to, perhaps at next Monday's meeting, talk about the TIF money for the new council people who haven't heard the explanation of why we're appropriating this money the way we did in the last resolution. So
The shorter answer is we don't know what we're going to get until we get it. So we can make a guess based on the previous year, but the first $4 million of the TIF money gets paid out to MI as the reimbursement for doing the earth and dam and some of the other things that they did for the development. And I'm not positive if it actually ended up at 4 million or not. That's a question for Gene because he's been reviewing their records. But if it went over 4 million, they get 4 million. If it's under 4 million, they get what they spent. And it's basically an in and out on our end. It comes in from the county and we push it back out to MI until we repay that $4 million. So, but like I said, we don't know what we're actually going to get from the county until it comes from the county. So that's why there was a provision.
I can't remember, did they just do that once a year or
Twice a year.
Once, I'm
Twice
sorry.
a year. It's usually end of February, beginning of March, and August. But this year, because Franklin County delayed property tax collections, we got it in October instead of in August like we normally would.
So was it seemed like it was more than you had expected. Is that true?
Yeah, and it just, like I said, just depends on who actually pays their taxes, if there's any delinquents, and then how much expenses the county takes for their collection. Sorry, I was trying to pull it up here. I thought it was over here. We just kind of based it on last year, what we got, and usually you get half in the spring and half in the fall. This time it ended up being a little more in the fall than it was in the spring, so. Again, not anything that we have control over.
Yeah, I just wondered if how you felt about the amount. You know, just.
And actually, I expect next year it'll probably be significantly higher because it's based on, this year's number is based on the 12/31/18 valuation. So if you recall, that's when we really just had started having homes completed. So for 2021, it will be based on the December 31st, 2019 housing values, and obviously that was significantly more than it would have been the year before. So next year it's going to be a lot higher.
Okay. All right, good.
So
Let's
we're in
see.
good shape then.
Yes, actually the more money that comes in, this is the good thing about it. The more money that comes in faster, the faster that 4 million gets paid off, and the faster then we get access to that TIF money.
Right, paying off
Good.
that debt is, you know, a big deal. And then the TIF, although the TIF is, can be, in other words, it's designated money, not just general fund money. So it's designated, and that can happen for, that it's designated for a certain, for the MI section, is essentially.
It's not designated for the MI section specifically, it's designated for the benefit of the residents in the section. So if it's something that, and the attorneys are much more expert on this than I am, but if it's something like putting sidewalks, connecting different areas of the village, even though it's not in the MI section, it would benefit the residents of that section to be able to walk from like the pool over to Jordan Road, for example. It's a benefit to the residents in that division, so therefore it could be an eligible TIF expense.
Right, and so of course, we have to pay off the 4 million before we can decide about that. And the thing is good for, you can keep it, the TIF active for, I think, 30 years, but you can stop it sooner than that and have the money revert into the general fund so that it's, you know, it could be used for other things, but there's pros and cons about that. But anyway, that'll be a while before that happens. We're projecting now.
Originally it was projected in 2026. My guess is it's going to be towards the end of 2024 that we start having the access to it. If not, definitely by 2025. So about a year to 2 years earlier than we had originally planned.
Nice.
Yeah. So, okay, and that would make, I mean, you don't, in terms of some of these bigger infrastructure like the lake stuff and all that, certainly would benefit from, although it's gonna be a while, could benefit from that. Okay, so, okay, then let's see, we were also talking about the pool, and I just wanted to, and this is for the Monday meeting, we wanted to make sure we had the specific numbers of how much of the 75,000 we spent, and you know, so Tiffany was going to meet with engineering just to look over the options from Patterson Pool, and then we were hopefully on Monday we were going to have what is, if we got whatever option we got, how much more than the budgeted amount would we have to pay, and then do we have that money to allocate? It was it 103 or 109,000 that we budgeted for the pool, baby pool?
I thought it was 104 originally, but that did not include the architect, the MKSK.
Right.
So I think it ended up being, and can someone refresh my memory on the ODNR piece? It was it 75,000 that we ended up getting?
Yeah.
Okay. So as of right now, we had set aside with the grant money, we had $145,000. So the MKSK was 16.5. Did that end up going a little over?
No, yeah, it ended up going to almost 20,000. We had budgeted 21,500, and the number that I put together from the invoices that I saw was 19,996 or 19,997 or something like that. So basically $20,000. I don't know if there was another bill in September and or October, any outstanding balance, but that was for May, June, July, August, or June, July, whatever it was. So the number I was using was 20,000 when I did it instead of the 16.5. And then I read through this last night with everybody. I won't do it right now. because again, I was thinking I did forward that to everybody last night because the numbers are on there for, if adding that $4,000 back in, we would be at $122,000 for a potential cost to the village. That includes the $75,000 grant if we did both of the add-ons.
So 122.
Still need $122,000, a little more than that, 123,000 to be honest.
Let's say the 20,000 from MKSK is about a little over 140, and we had 145, so we'd be really close.
Yeah, and then on top of that, Tiffany was talking about the need to do some maintenance on the pool, which she was also going to do a little more research on for something.
The estimates that I got previously for that was around $10,000 to $15,000 to do all of that the right way. Again, I don't know that we really have to spend that much. I don't know that we're going to. I just want to make sure that come March, April, if that's something that we decide to do or we need to do, that it's there.
So you're saying that those patch jobs from the 1960s are no longer holding up?
Well, we had Tony do a patch job this past year, which was phenomenal because it enabled us to be able to have the pool open. But I would hate to have $140,000 baby pool and no big pool. That would kind of defeat the purpose. So
yeah. So if you say add on like the 15,000, so let's say $155,000, $160,000 to have the completely top of the line baby pool with some excess built in for known upcoming maintenance on the main pool. Is that about a fair thing? We're discussing about $150,000 or something like that. Or am I completely reading it wrong?
No, if we have $145,000 in there, I think that's exactly what we need in there.
Okay, cool.
I mean, that's my understanding. If there's ends up being around $145,000 in there, starting in January, basically. Oh wait, no, that's not what we need in there because I got to take out the 20. So yeah.
And if we came in below what we had, could we, I don't know if we can or not, that's why I'm asking a question. Let's say we had, or we just budgeted in, we want to make sure we have $15,000 for maintenance. So we're going to assume that we have to spend that. Could we put that in its own little account called pool maintenance and just let it sit there? In years that we don't use it, it just sits there. In years that we do use it, we have to replenish it. Is that something that as a municipality we're able to do?
I think we kind of already do that because isn't that what we pay like Rick West every single year to come out and do his basic, like little maintenance?
Opening and closing it.
Yeah, opening, closing.
Yeah, and I was thinking of like, as I say, like a big, like a $10,000, $15,000 chunk that just sits there and is just there. And if we don't use it, great. It just sits there and it rolls over to next year. And when we use it, then we have to appropriate to fill it back in, just so we're never at like a, oh no, emergency repair. What do we do? It's, oh no, we just have an account set up for that.
Yeah, we can do that. It's one of those things where it's not like if we don't use it, it just rolls over. You have to reappropriate it, but it's just that money that you didn't spend in the current year. So
okay, that I'm thinking of much smaller organizations with different rules then.
Okay. When you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
All right. So, and then just a side note to all of that, I am actually doing a meeting with Mike Flickinger and Tim Patterson to go over those extras tomorrow. So I will send out an email tomorrow afternoon letting you guys know kind of, not necessarily just my opinion, but what are those? I mean, I understand it's like the slippery bottom and the ledge at the bottom, and I'm guessing it's just one of those little ledges that you can put your foot up on. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like a lot of the pools have.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll get what the pros and cons are for those types of things, and then I'll send it to you guys, and you guys can make the decision if you want to do the add-ons. I know I already have my own personal opinion. My personal opinion without listening to it, I think it would be nice for the non-skid, thing, but umbrellas and below deck footing for $16,000, I'm thinking I'll go to Myers and buy a umbrella for $100, 5 of them. But that's me being cheap. So, I mean, and maybe there's much more entailed in the $16,000 of what that is. So with what I read, that to me is the first thing I would knock off. So anyways, that's my opinion. You guys are the ones that actually pushed the budget through. So I'm going to give you the rundown of what it was, and hopefully you guys can make a decision if that's something you guys want to do or not.
I'd be much more in agreement with foregoing the umbrellas for something we could supply ourselves as well. If it does come down
I
to that
have
kind of
3
decision.
umbrellas I'll donate.
Yeah, exactly. So, and again, it does talk about below deck footings. So I'm guessing, again, that's like that little bar. So again, can I do that for 5,000 and not the umbrellas or whatever? So we'll see exactly what they have to talk about. I will send you guys an email as soon as that meeting's over. Because I don't want to get too far off topic with that, but I am meeting tomorrow 9 a.m. to do that.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that the engineering firm that we paid so much money for, I'm surprised it would be something that would be necessary for safety, because they would have already put that in the spec.
I agree with you. I completely agree with you. I think this is just an add-on to make it prettier, to make it more, again, I mean, it's just like everything. You can get a car and you can add all these different things to it, but I mean, the car still works and it's exactly what you need, but do you need all the extras? Of course they're nice, but are they necessary?
Right.
That's going to be left up to you guys. And to me, I would take that before they explain it to me. So that's kind of premature. I'm thinking take that $16,000 and put that in the budget for repairs of the larger pool, because I would much rather have a second pool than an umbrella.
I would agree as well.
So, but if we're able to do it all and we're able to make this absolutely amazing and it seems as if it's really necessary, then everything I just said was pointless. So again, don't want to get in the nuts and bolts tomorrow, 9 a.m.
Okay, let's see. And then Kim, we also talked about, well, we've talked about, I don't think there's any issue on the allocation for closing out the EMS. And yes, right? Agree? Okay, okay. And let's see, in terms of the, let's see, I don't think,
Can we stop on that for a second?
yeah.
Okay, while we're talking about that, should we be thinking about allocating money for November and December on an appropriation for,
I was just
be
going to
able to
ask
pay
if
them?
you knew
Yeah.
what that, am I just dividing the 175 by 12 and that's going to be our 2 months?
Yeah,
or-
yeah, that's,
Oh, no. Okay. Has anybody read my email from today?
no.
185. Okay, so
185?
okay, well, here's why. So when they, and I'm not saying this is Brian and everybody was forwarded this, so I don't want to say this incorrectly, so I'm going to tell you the way that I understand this. We have 122 fire hydrants, and Columbus, Maine is going to, it's in there. It is for them to do the inspections and yada, yada, yada. So it's actually not 175, it's 185. Some of my questions were, is this something that Rick can continually do, or does it need to be done by the city of Columbus? And then this is where it becomes muddy water. Is this something that we want somebody to continue to do? So anyways, they sent over the contract. Everybody has a copy of the contract. It specifically says that they will do that in there for 185. I don't want to get in the nuts and bolts about that. So to answer your question, yes, divide the 185 by the 2 months would be my understanding for, I'm sorry, per month, 185, 12 months, and then times the 2 months. So my question to you guys is, should we go ahead and get that on appropriation to move forward?
Yeah, that definitely, we should.
I'll
go.
add it to the one that's already moving.
Yes.
The one that has the tip one on it, not the one that has the
Okay.
salaries on it.
Okay.
Yep, so that extra 10,000 then was for hydrant inspections and where, and flood, okay.
Now,
it
does
would be
that- Okay, I will read over what you said, Tiffany. Do you know offhand, does that include any repair necessary? Or is that in addition, additional?
Yeah, I would assume no. I would assume anytime there's a repair, one repair can be $3,000 to $5,000. So I think that's just the, you know, if you read it, it just specifically says inspections.
The good news is, though, with the fire hydrants, we can pay for the fire hydrants out of the water fund.
Yeah.
So,
So, which is a good thing.
and I wonder, it might be worth asking Jesse if we can just pay for that 10,000, that piece of it, if we can just pay for that straight out of that water fund instead of out of the general fund. Since it's specifically for the hydrants.
That's a good question.
Oh, that is a good question.
And I'm
Make
doing
it a separate agreement instead of rolling it in.
Well, we could still be on the same agreement. It would just be paid, that particular piece of that agreement would be paid from a different fund than the rest of it.
Okay, would they have to know that then?
No,
If-
it wouldn't matter to Columbus as long as they get the check. They don't care what fund of ours it's coming from, I don't think.
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, paid out of the water fund sounds, that sounds really good. Okay.
And it looks like it's a 3-year
Good thinking, good
agreement is
thinking.
all.
Yeah, good thinking. No, I think it's, you know, they're gonna be more helpful to us if we get a relationship with them, Tiffany. And
Oh, no. Just so you guys know, I'm always the one that fights stuff like that, but I'm in total agreement. Jesse is also in total agreement that, you know, it would be, we would hate for them to force blame onto us that we didn't maintain something correctly or something along those lines if something were to happen.
Right, and this way they get used to our neighborhood too. They have someone that's going around looking at our wire act. So, I mean, they've never had to bother coming around to our neighborhood. So I think that can only be good. Just,
Exactly. Again, Brian and I were kind of on the same page. I sent it to Brian first, then I forwarded it to all of you guys. Kim, I think I did send it to you, but if I didn't,
No, I
I will
think
make
I got
sure. Okay. You did or didn't?
Did not.
Okay, I'll resend it here in 2 seconds, but I am actually sending Jesse an email and copying you on it right now too.
Okay.
And Leah. Okay.
okay. So Kim, do you see anything else that, you said there might have to be another adjustment for something or other before the end of the year, appropriations adjust. Is there anything else that you see coming up that is looming that?
I think it's gonna be cleanup. The only thing that is possible, and I'm just gonna try, I think I'm just gonna put it on this appropriation that's already going. So we have the final payment on the EMS vehicle that's due in December. I won't know what that final dollar amount is. Like, I know what it should be based on what we calculate it to be.
Yeah.
But it could be, if it's off like $50, I may just go ahead and put that on just to be safe so that we don't have to try and rush something through when we get it. And if we don't spend it, we don't spend it and it goes away, it's fine. So you might see a debt service piece added to the general fund just to pick up, just in case I calculated it wrong or Jeff calculated it wrong when we first did that agreement. So that is the only.
I had forgotten that we hadn't quite paid that off yet. I know we were
Yeah,
putting
it's the
towards
final
it.
payment. We have accumulated the money. The money is sitting there because we had accumulated it a year in advance. But the payment's not due until December. So, and that's the thing too. If we try to sell the thing, we need to pay for it before we can sell it.
So we can't, do you think we could, I mean, we might be able to post it though with just saying that we're selling it as of January 1, couldn't we? Just to get it out there?
Probably. I don't know if it's worth contacting other, like, I don't even know other villages who have EMS, because I think most of them contract, but I don't know if it's worth reaching out to some individually and saying, hey, we've got this if you're interested in it, or just posting on GovDeals, but GovDeals doesn't seem to be, when I was looking at EMS vehicles, it didn't seem to be fetching very much.
Right, I had
We're
heard,
like 5 years old, so.
yeah, I had heard that about these EMS, that they don't fetch. That's the kind of scuttlebutt I was hearing when I was visiting, asking people about their, facility. And then I'd say, oh, you got EMS, what do you, the things that I heard was like, you don't get anything for them. So, but that doesn't mean we can't, but I think we can put it on GovDeal and also reach out to people though, right?
I think.
Because, I mean, we have it's easy to get a list of villages, as you know, that are, there's RETA villages, but you can figure out small villages and start. I could even just make random phone calls to ones that have EMSs. I could give it a go in Ohio, of course.
Right. It just be unfortunate to be able to get anything out of it when it's, I mean, I know it's smaller than what the standard seems to be or what people want now, but
Yeah, and Rick was looking forward to that bigger truck. So, I mean, I don't know either, except maybe maybe that would be the wrong one. Maybe the right approach is to approach an ambulance service. Yeah.
Right, like a private ambulance.
Yeah. We could try eBay.
You could turn it into a really cool little mobile camper thing, I'm sure.
I bet you could.
My sister and her husband, they just have like one of those transit vans, like the
Yes, yes.
transit van, and
Yep.
they got it all modified out, and that's their camper. They drive around the Southwest and spend the night in national parks.
With life support.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it'd be very nice, you
I
know.
mean, it can power a lot of electricity.
Yeah, people would get out of your way because, you know, they wouldn't know. All right, so much for that. Okay, well, I didn't want to, you know, the mayor has grand plans for that space. So, and of course, Tony is looking forward to using the garage. So, you know, I'm sure that the sooner we get, I'm sure we don't want the ambulance parked outside.
No,
But,
ideally no.
Yeah, so we want to move it along as quick as we can. It seems to be the feeling on that.
I had thought about a private ambulance service. That might be a way to go.
Yeah, I heard they're having kind of rough times because of the new rules on transporting and things like that. But it would seem to me they are more cost conscious, and they might be willing to take it. So if we could find a couple to ask. Also, it could be not necessarily a nursing home, but some like a daycare or a facility like that uses vans anyway. You know, that might want something that's a little better equipped. So that's possible. You know how much? Can you, if you let, you know, I'd be happy, I'm sure others would, just to chat it up if we knew about how much we wanted to ask for it.
I know nothing about the valuation of an ambulance. I know we paid about $180,000 for it 5 years ago. So I don't know what the depreciation on an ambulance is. I would say at this point, I have nothing in the budget for it. If we can get anything for it, I would.
Yeah.
You know, I
mean,
don't
if we were going to go out and buy a new one, would we just ask them to take it as a trade-in and they would do it as a favor, basically?
most likely. That's what we do with the cruisers.
Okay.
We usually get a trade-in value and then offer it around for the trade-in value or a little more to see if anybody will take it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I could ask, we could ask Rick what the specs are on the vehicle, just so we could have how many horsepower it is, how big it is, or whatever.
Yeah. We may even have something from where we got it as well. That's something we could look at. Along those lines of that, you had asked about budgeting, or, are we going to see, I don't know exactly how you worded it, but is it safe to say we're probably going to see another appropriation for the CARES Act to be able, because that has to be, as of now, appropriated by November?
Mm-hmm. I really appreciate, and I hate turning down free money. We got to figure out how we're going to spend it, and we got to figure it out quick.
I have ideas, but again, okay. So one of the things that obviously, this has nothing to do with the ambulance, and I know Tony does have a little bit of different ideas for the garage and exactly what we would do, but my number one idea is that I'm going to convert those 2 rooms into additional office space. The plan is to use the CARES Act money to do that, to separate, like as we know, Leah is currently working in the same, and 9 by 9, there's no 6 foot social distancing. And that's basically what the CARES Act money is for. The CARES Act money is to separate workspace and to give people ample space and all of that type of stuff. So I think it's a fabulous way. Again, I know nobody's going to be thrilled about spending money to potentially have it re-renovated again. That said, we're going to give it back if we don't spend it. As you guys are also aware, I think one of the things that council was really on board with was, maybe doing $1,000 grants for residents that might be in need.
Absolutely, yes. If that's legal, we should.
yeah, as I told everybody, that's going to be something that we're currently working on. They sent out a 15-page way of doing certain things. With that, that's something that we don't necessarily, other than appropriating the money, we don't know that I need council's technical approval for it. And Kim, do you know if, I know that there's a process for it, but is there anything that we need to do legislatively? Because again, I think council's all on board. I don't want to make it sound like that. Is there anything legislatively that you think we may need to do for that?
I'll have to look into that. The only thing we have to be kind of careful of that I can think of off the top of my head is ideally we don't want to just pay, you know, Jane Smith $1,000 directly. If she's behind on a mortgage payment, we would like to pay the $1,000 to the mortgage company.
That's what the
Because
paperwork
it's
shows.
much easier for our auditing purposes. And this being the type of federal grant that it is going to be subject to some scrutiny. We're still going to be fine. This is well beyond the scope of what you guys care about, I'm sure. But if you spend more than $750,000 a year in federal money, you have to have a specific federal audit. We're not there. We're not anywhere close. This is our only federal money. So we will not have a special single federal audit. But even with that, there's probably going to be some things audit's going to look at because just of the nature of the grant that it is.
Right. No, I don't disagree. So, Mike, and here's just a really quick, and I know this from past. The concern that I have with sending a random $1,000 to Susie Smith's Wells Fargo, when you are far behind on your mortgage payment, if you aren't paying a full mortgage payment, that money actually gets put into escrow and isn't necessarily paying towards their mortgage payment if they're more than one payment behind. So we also have to be careful of that because basically we're sending Wells Fargo $1,000 and it's just going to sit there. It's just weird the way that it works. And that's just something I've learned along the way. If we send $1,000 and they owe, you know, $4,200, that $1,000 goes to escrow. It doesn't actually go towards the balance of what they owe. So that is another concern that I have is we could potentially just be throwing away money, sending it to mortgage payments if they're further than a month behind. If it is just a month behind, it does go off of the mortgage payment.
Right, and also you have to be careful that people, if they're using it towards something that is allowed, that it's not being snatched up by someone who's got a lien on their property or their whatever it is that you're helping to pay for, because then again, it wouldn't go to paying their current
Right.
rent or mortgage amount. It would be going to pay somebody else for some past business. So it can be complicated, but it's well worthwhile if again, if you're depending on who you're paying to, I guess.
Right, and I think that's the risk that we have to determine if we're willing to take. So, you know, where we think that we're helping people, we may not actually be helping people as much as we think we are. Because I think most people's mortgage payments, like I said, are again over $1,000. So that's my concern with it. There was just a couple things that have been, you know, I already knew that, but that was something that was a concern doing that.
Now what I've read, Tiffany, though, just to say is that, and I haven't researched it any further, is that there are nonprofits in Ohio that agencies that help people with this, and it could be possible for us to partner with one of them. They could do all the vetting, and then they could just ask us, you know, for the check, so to speak.
So, and again, not in disagreement. I think the hard part with that's going to be we have to do it by November 15th to figure out how we're spending it. And I just don't know that we'll have the time to coordinate with somebody in the next.
Well, you know, I attended a webinar on this 2 months ago because this was all predicted to be going to happen in terms of people. I mean, a lot of agencies are gearing up for evictions. And what are they going to do with homeless people during a? So this has been discussed. It may be that I mean, I'm not thinking of any kind of unique idea here. It could be that they've already, some agencies have already put something in place and are ready to work with you. So it's just a possibility.
I don't know that we can I guess here's the next question, and Kim, with the 15 pages, I don't know if we can actually, because to me, that's kind of like donating to an agency, and I don't know that that's an option.
No, it wouldn't be donating to an agency. They would be, it would be the same rules. It's just that the agency is helping the individual that's in trouble. And the agency would have the same rules that you do, or that the village has, where you're paying directly with,
So
you
we
know,
would
you're
connect
paying the
our
bill
person,
directly.
we would connect our person to the agency, and we would then pay
Right.
who?
The individual, well, whoever, whatever the rule, 15-page rule says, whoever they say gets paid, gets paid.
That's what Kim was saying. We kind of have to pay like the mortgage company. Like
Right,
they
right.
really do want you to pay
The agency has the same rules as we would in terms of paying. You're not paying the agency, you're paying, anyway, it's just where the money originates from. That's all I'm talking about. So, but anyway, not to complicate the matter.
I feel like we're adding an additional layer of something. I feel like if we're going to pay the mortgage company, we would just pay the mortgage company, and agency is just going to be another person that we have to like. So again, and yes, I mean, because some people need more than just one source of help. So I mean, yes, I understand.
Another possibility is you can do small business assistance. I know that as a veteran community, there's not a lot of business here, but if the businesses here are struggling, then that's an option too.
It is. My concern with that is there has been so much given to small businesses. As a person that has 2 small businesses, I feel like if you haven't been able to tap into one of those, there might be some reasons as to why. I'm not, and again, I don't want to go. There has been so much of payment protection assistance that, I mean, I feel like the individual is the one that doesn't have all of the assistance. So I'm not saying small businesses, trust me, I have one, and I've had enough tears that we can just leave it at that. So I know how much small businesses are struggling, but we have been able to tap into payment protection. We've been able to do that type of stuff. And again, it doesn't solve any problems. It doesn't do anything. My business is still closed. So I get it. I don't feel like we have a lot of it. My point was, the other thing is I don't know that we have enough money to actually help small businesses. I feel like if you're going to try to help a small business, I mean, $1,000, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't be grateful for $1,000, but for my small business that struggled the entire year, $1,000 is really just not gonna do. It doesn't even pay my one bill that one of our business bills. So, the whole thing was being able to help some of the residents. So, I mean, that's something that, again, I think we're going to start getting into the weeds here. And I think we all know it's a great idea. We all want to figure out how to make it work. But the thing,
people, and we're not alone in this. A lot of municipalities are struggling with how they're going to spend this money because it's so restrictive.
So, but my huge grand scheme of things is I want to redo the flooring, redo the wall, redo the whole thing, all new desks, all new everything to where we're not sharing, and I don't know who's going to go into those rooms. It's going to be a matter of a discussion. That's why I want that door. That door is going to have its own exit, entrance, exit, all that kind of stuff, because obviously if there was a fire or something in there, I want these people to be able to get out. So that door is going to be fixed to where we can use that, but utilizing that space to move people around. Again, when Eric comes in or when we have Jason, code enforcement, all of it, everybody's in that one room. So that we don't have any workspaces for people. So we all know that they're all in the same room. We're going to convert those into actual office spaces and potentially use the CARES Act money for that is the goal. And
the thing is buying desks and furnishings and that kind of stuff is stuff that we can reuse even if
correct.
It doesn't get remodeled.
And that was my goal. That was my plan. We have already given a look. We've already talked about getting some new laptops. I already told you guys about that as well. We have moved forward, letting KGT know that we do in fact want to move forward with that. So we're expecting to get some invoices and things like that we can be able to pay. I believe that was on the last appropriation, if I'm not mistaken already. And then the other thing that we are working with on, and with the CARES Act money, is something that updating our server to being able to handle all of the additions and all of that kind of stuff. So that is something else that we are talking about, whether or not we can use the CARES Act money, since we are adding all of this stuff. So it's a work in progress. We will determine whether or not we believe that we can use the money for that. and we'll keep you in the loop because that again is going to be a big chunk of money, and it was not already in our budget for this year.
I'm just
we've got
happy
Mike.
that we're all coming, or I'm just happy that we're trying to find ways to provide some of this relief to our homeowners and those who are at risk of falling behind on payments. I mean, what is the most basic and fundamental purpose of a government? To protect and to make lives better for the people by which it is represented. And that's fantastic to see that we're following through with stuff like that. It sounds like it'll be pretty complicated to try to get it set up, but it's good that you know there are plenty of like-minded people on this call, because it's fantastic to hear. I don't know. I hope we're able to figure something out to get this relief to our people.
All right.
And I would say, I mean, honestly, I really want to have something
I'm
in
on board
place by
with-
Friday.
And if not, I'm on board with making the community building more. If we can put, you know, your office space idea there and using some of the money for that, I'm fine for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think like we said, I think getting the new furniture in there, you know, whether or not we add an additional printer to being to, you know, again, not having to share all of the same things and still go in. Oh, I have the grand scheme of adding a bathroom down there. So if you don't think that I can figure this out, because again, we're all using the same one bathroom in the whole, well, the two bathrooms that the general public and everybody uses. If I can figure out how to add a bathroom down there, that's next. So I have a way that we can get this spent before the end of the year, but I don't know that I can actually make some of those things happen. So that is my ideas in a nutshell, and we can.
Well, just
I like the idea. Sorry.
I'm sorry, just in terms of your list of things for the new area, I'm sure that the tech people will have to add more wiring, so
Yes.
it's part of
Yes.
your. Okay, so all right, then moving along, Kim, is there anything else on 2020? Are we ready to talk? Was there anything that was on the latest financial report that you wanted to point out specifically that was unusually high or different? I didn't really see anything.
Not that I can recall.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing anything either. So why don't we talk about, it's already 4:42. Why don't we talk about what's up with the budget? And do you have anything to share? Or
What's up with the budget?
What's that?
Okay, so I have started it, but there's a lot that, like, I don't have something to present to you saying this is exactly what we're going to do, because I have a lot of questions for you guys on what we're going to do in 21.
Yeah.
It's going to have to guide this. And I don't know that you guys have the answers yet, if this is something that you still need to talk about. So
We have
I'm
answers,
gonna-
we just don't know if they'll approve them.
I'm going to share this, hopefully.
All right.
Can y'all see detailed expenditures worksheet?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll just start up here at the top, I guess, with the questions that we've got. So are we all up to speed on like the code enforcement situation?
That we don't have a code enforcement, you mean?
Okay, so that's kind of one of the things I kind of need to know. So are we planning to, I know there's been talk about bringing it internal or under like a council committee kind of thing, versus having someone. So that makes a difference, obviously, in the budget. So I kind of
I'm sorry, what? I thought, did you say code enforcement? We do have that internally, right?
No, we mean like if Tony has the idea and has had the idea for years about bringing that under a committee assignment and doing code enforcement that way. So that's something that council clearly would have to be on board for.
Well, what
Or are we gonna
about
hire somebody?
what about the mayor on that? I can't believe you'd want to lose control of that to a committee.
I don't know that I would completely lose control of it. I mean, as far as that goes, you know, we just like everything, I am on board for trial runs of certain things. There's certain things that we're going to do that may not work out and we're going to pull it back. Simple as that. There are things that, you know, maybe other people didn't agree with and we've tried it and it's actually been working out really well. So you know, I think the thing that people do forget about me is I'm willing to try different things. Because again, and we commented on this and this is way out there, so I'm going to say this and move on. I think a code enforcement officer, 20 hours a week, 352 weeks out of the year is throwing village money away. I don't think it's necessary. I think in the summer months you need someone. I think in the winter months you could get away with probably, you know, 4, 6, 10 hours max. So I haven't been through the whole winter. I'm only telling you what I'm seeing so far. And so far, we don't have high grass. We don't have any of that stuff. So we would literally be paying somebody to sit at their desk and clear out files and do that.
Well,
and I'm sorry, hang on.
Okay, I didn't realize, you know, when we, at least for me, when we budgeted for the code enforcement, just like with the maintenance, we assume that I was assuming that during certain seasonal or different times of the year, that person would not have or would have minimal work and they would be sent home. So I was not looking at this, for me anyway, I wasn't looking at it in the budgeting process as you would have them sit at their desk and do nothing. That was not, certainly not my intention as a council member that would be happening. So if that doesn't work, if that really from a management point of view, you're not able to make that happen where you send the person home if they don't have work, then we'd have to relook at it for sure.
Yeah, I'm telling you that is what was going on. So, but I'm also going to tell you that people aren't going to do that job without that expectation. So when they came, you know, again, I came in with a person that was already in there for several months, and that, in my opinion, is exactly what was going on. So, again, they are expecting 20 hours a week because there are certain reasons I'm not going to go into on a public meeting. But this particular person was hired in at 20 hours a week and needed exactly 20 hours a week and could not go over 20 hours a week. But they were basically told that they could have 20 hours a week, and that's how they budgeted their life. So if somebody is doing this as a part-time career, that you have to take that as an expectation. So, you know, what people are expecting and what people are getting and what people are doing is possibly different. I'm here to tell you that was exactly what was going on. So after that person left, I've been in the middle of summer. So it's been busy. I will tell you, Jason worked, I believe, 4 hours last week, and we're not behind on anything right now. So I would tell you that I have no interest in hiring a 20-hour person right now. So I think you and I are on the same page, but I'm telling you that was in fact what was going on. Yes.
And I think I think Tiffany, you talked about this, or at least alluding to it. It's hard to get someone competent when it's like, okay, you're going to be doing 20 hours a week.
Correct.
And then winter's going to hit, and we might need you 5 hours a week. We'll let you know. It's basically like a 7-month job and then 5 months of being on call. You know, if I'm looking for a thing, I don't want something that, you know, is on again, off again, unless we want to hire some 16-year-old who, you know, isn't going to be quality. Nothing against.
You're hitting it on the head. I mean, it depends on exactly what you're looking for. If you're looking for that retired person that doesn't care, and I shouldn't even say retired person, but if you're looking for that person that whether they work 5 hours a week or 20 hours a week, it doesn't matter. And that's their, you know, that's their vacation money, or that's their play money or fun money. But that's not necessarily been the case. This has been what people pay their bills with. And it's kind of like maintenance. I mean, let's just be honest. If our maintenance person got 5 hours a week right now, I'm not sure that they would stay, because it's something that you rely on a job to pay your bills. And if you are seasonal, that's one thing. These are listed as part-time jobs. These are not listed as part-time seasonal jobs. So the other part to that is you can't just let somebody go for 4 months. You can, but you also can't expect them to come back. So it's all in a matter of, you know, just like everything, it's all in a matter of the quality and the type of person and, you know, the people that are able to do this particular job. So it is easy to sit back and say, well, this is what I would do. And I'm here to tell you that good luck finding that person, because most people aren't able to do it. So we're approving positions based on your recommendations. We're not telling you how to run the village, and although we shouldn't be telling you how to run the village, that's the point.
So I don't have, you need to tell us what you think the solution is and not
I don't,
us telling you what it is. So,
correct. So, and I'm telling you, and because I think this is, why many people wanted me in this chair is because I'm honest with you guys. We don't need somebody 20 hours a week in the winter months. I'm not here to put somebody in that chair. And I think it is fair for you guys to know. I'm going to tell you, I sat in that chair. I sat in the same exact chair you were sitting in for 2 years. And I know we were paying people to sit there, in my opinion, and maybe not do as much because trust me, there's way more going on now than there was 2 years ago or even a year ago. So, with all the permits. So I can only assume that the code enforcement before was, I don't know what they could have been doing for 20 hours.
I do remember in the finance committee approving more hours once the MI, like last year, Kim, when we talked about it in finance, and we said that during the summer especially, they're going to have all these permits from the new MI area, especially on fences and decks. And that would be a very busy time. And then again, assuming, and this was, again, a different mayor, but we were assuming that we would allow additional help. However, the mayor at the time decided to use that help. Additional hours, we gave additional hours so that peak period could be covered somehow. And so the option that the mayor used was not the best, and so people ended up sitting around perhaps. So anyway, but that was the purpose. So that's what you're saying as the mayor now is that's not workable to have peak period, putting in additional money for peak periods because it doesn't work out that way.
I'm going to give my opinion. I don't think you can have two people doing that particular job because they're going to clash. So I'm going to tell you the only way that it's going to work is if you find somebody that's willing to work 10 hours on off-peak time, which is basically going to be, let's go October. So basically from October to probably March 1st, you don't need 20 hours a week. I mean, you just don't. So, and I believe we actually increased it to up to 30 hours a week, if you guys remember, not just 20. I think 20 has been the standard. So I think that was what we were doing in the summer. And maybe it's just because Jason was really good at what he did. He was able to get it done with no problem in 20 hours a week, easily. So
well, it seems like he did get the new software, which made perfect sense.
Correct.
That is our software, right? He didn't take it with him.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Does Blendon
So now we have-
Township have, does
we have
Blendon
better-
Township have a, oh, I'm sorry.
Just to finish, we have better software now. So we're more efficient and that's part of it. And also just that he's a more energetic fellow, but I'm sorry, go ahead, Joe. Joe?
Does Blendon have a code enforcement officer? They're small.
They have, I don't know if they have, they have to have someone for building inspection and all that, but
I'd imagine because they're much bigger than we are.
Much
yeah,
better.
they have more properties that they're handling. They have larger area.
I mean, they're easily, what, 2 or 3 times the size of us?
Well, they're about, I think, 1,200. So
Yeah,
not so
website.
much. 12,000 maybe. But they're not that big, but they are bigger than we are.
Okay, well, I think we're probably on the first line of this. So to answer your question, I know we don't need more than what we currently have. So that would definitely answer that. But what council wants to do, again, I'm leaving that to, I would love for them to make a decision if they have any interest in doing that. Other than that, my goal is to try to get through the rest of this year, putting out and then advertising it for somebody with somebody that has more flexibility and see what happens. Because again, I do not have interest in hiring 20 hours a week as a part-time job for the rest of the year. I think that I will have to figure something out, or we will have to figure something out, because I'm not interested in overspending on.
Right, we got it.
position.
So, all right. So Kim, to answer your question, I guess leave it where it is right now.
I just Googled, the Blendon Township Building Department contracts with its consulting architect to serve as the chief building official.
So real quick, Tiffany, just to understand what you're kind of kicking around or suggesting is that we wouldn't have a code enforcement officer. That would just be some sort of committee made up of council members who would do that job. Is that?
Correct. We would do, my vision is that we would still in-house do the permits. Again, Becky does a lot of that. The ones that we can't instantly approve, then those would either go directly to planning and zoning, which they used to. So it would just depend exactly on, what we decide to do. The other part is, again, we get some sort of temp person to come in summer months.
My question would be, who'd be going around looking for cars on bricks and long grass and such?
And just so you know, we have about 3 or 4 code enforcement officers that live in the village as well. I mean, residents that keep us in the loop of everything that's wrong.
Okay. That isn't a yucky situation for me because I don't want neighbors being snarky at each other, being the, I understand the trouble with the payroll and finding someone to do it, but boy, do I want one person who does it and not like, well, it'll kind of get handled here or there. And maybe the council members can go for more walks and see grass and that. I like one person just being like, yep, this is my job and I do it and I'm consistent.
And this may really sound dumb what I'm about to say, but the other part is this position pays quite well. In my opinion, I think that is somebody that's making that kind of money probably relies on it, and it's a great income for a part-time job. Again, this is going to sound really dumb, but lowering that pay, you may get somebody that's more flexible.
Well, there's never a single amount. It's always a range, right?
It is a range. It is a range, but the people that we've had have been pretty darn qualified to do it and then some. So there are things to think about with, there are options. I mean, again, I think we're still talking about the first thing. So I do know that there are some people that want to take it in, and I'm not in disagreement with you, Mark. I don't know that that's going to be something that council in general wants to do. We may have 1 or 2 people that want to do that. And at that point, we will go full force in making sure that this person is ready to go when grass season starts, getting somebody in there in January.
If I could chime in, talking about the council member, like, a committee being to decide whether something, is or is not a violation. I mean, I don't know, show me the pictures and give me a book of the code, and that'd be something I'd be willing to sit on that committee.
Again, I think that there's a couple people that are interested in doing it that way. So again, I think it's something that's a great topic to have. I think it's, I think it's an option. I think that there's some people that have, like Mark, and I'm going to be honest with you, Mark, I'm like you. I don't want to go knocking on their door.
I don't either.
I'm not sitting on that committee and getting into those arguments. I'm legislative branch. I make the laws. You're executive. You get to enforce them. And you can hire someone to go out and be like, yep, I'm the guy who looks at grass and tells you it's too long, and that's that. Because I will not sit in a meeting ever where I have to discuss, well, is this flower planting really natural looking, or is it just weeds? Because that sounds like moments of my life I will never get back.
Well, I'm so much of a bleeding heart. If I were on that committee, there'd be probably more people being let off than everybody else would be comfortable with. So I guess I'd have to rethink that myself.
Yeah, because then you're in arguments with that. I'm just pointing that out. Code enforcement.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I don't think it's overtaxing a person to have them mow their lawn.
No one said that.
All right.
Okay. So now it is 4:59, and I hope we kind of beat the horse isn't dead, but it's laying down right now. So, is there anything else there are some highlights of the budget that you want to, or other open items you want to point out that we need to discuss going forward?
The second piece of that that's under planning and zoning is the planning piece. So
what?
the planning side.
Planning.
So
Yeah,
think
I
we-
hadn't heard anything from our mayor after we had our meeting about the village planner position.
Okay, well, I don't,
Okay.
don't
All right.
know that that's something we should,
Right, okay, so that's an open item. What else you got?
So the other big thing is the maintenance.
Right, the maintenance.
that one's the huge one.
So let's touch on that and then I'll come back up to some of these project pieces. And we can hit on those, but that maintenance piece is the other big unknown as far as I'm concerned.
Now, has, so we just got the, some of the acreage that we needed. I also was asking for a couple of maps, like, that show the areas that do need to be maintained. So if we were going to do some outsourcing of at least the lawn service, we would be able to get some cost for cost comparison. Do you have, and I have a wish list. We got a kind of a wish list, a preliminary wish list anyway from Chipper about if he were to do more maintenance, what he would like to have. So I have some numbers on that, but I wanted to get some more clarification on it. But if we have to say if we get a lawn service and they want to charge $50,000 for the year, I'm making that up. And then Chipper wants to buy lawn equipment that cost $50,000, okay, or less. And what does that look like? So we can kind of decide if we're being realistic about bringing it all in-house or continuing it all in-house. I know we don't do everything in-house because we still have a landscaper that we have somebody that we've got the aqua people who do the lake stuff. We've got the landscape person that does the spring and fall cleanup, right?
Yes.
And if I were to look, I'd be able to find them individually.
Oops. They are under this other community environment, this other contractual services here, they're included in that.
They're just in there.
Yes, there's a couple other things in there. This is Aqueduct's its own, sorry. This is the cleanup, what's over here? We talked about doing goose control. So I've got a little bit in there for that, and landscaping. So this 3,000, 7,800, that's more in line with what your the landscaping itself is. I don't think we're going to hit this for 2020 because we didn't do the geese control. Well, I guess we did if we lowered the lakes. I got rid of the geese. But
yeah, we definitely want that goose control in there because the ponds are really some of the ponds are choice spots.
sure.
The only problem that I have with even doing that is all they do is come to my house. So, and then they're just gonna come right back over there.
Let your dog out. Let her chase them.
They go all the way down Jordan Road. And then within a couple days, they're back over at the lake. So it's kind of, I don't know
It's
how.
not a one-time thing, it's a program.
Right.
It is a program where you have repeatedly till they get tired and they don't come back
Right.
to the ponds, which is that's the whole point of the program.
Since we're talking about, so we're talking about the mowing and stuff, particularly with the new section, I would, it's one of those, maybe we should have done this in the spring, but we didn't, and we can do it next year. I would be in favor of continuing to contract services for some of that. And by the end of next summer, we'll know what it is we actually want to do, what it looks like. We can have Chipper, spy on him and spy on them, see what they're doing, see how long it takes them, and then ask him, okay, could you do this? Could you, if we had another guy working your hours and we got you some equipment, could you do what they did? Because I'm honestly, unless it's really bad financially, lean towards in-house is better because you just have more control. You're not saying,
That's-
oh, hey, service who's going to come out here twice a week. You're saying, hey, a tree fell in the path yesterday. You guys go take care of it. And
I am
that's-
absolutely with Mark. I am fully in favor of doing as much
But I don't think
in-house
we're ready
by
for that
every account.
for next year. And I know we need to, if we're going to contract someone, I know we're going to need to be signing a contract, you know, before next April, where they tell us, sorry, we're booked up.
Yeah, right. No, we do have to get some quotes anyway. So I think the next step is to get some quotes and then to look at the type of equipment they would be using with us, and then seeing what if we had that equipment ourselves, and a place to store that equipment, and whatever else is
We have a garage.
required. And staff to go with that, because Chipper is not a full-time person, and as my understanding, he does not wish to be a full-time person. So at least that's kind of the impression I got. So, you know, we've got additional staffing to also plug in there. So once we get all that plugged in, it may not look as attractive. And again, Chipper's also one person. So if he were sick, we would still have, if he got sick at the wrong time of the year, we would be scrambling to get that lawn cut somehow. So, you know, there's pros and cons both ways, and we just need to kind of lay it out. But at this point, my goal is to just try to help get the big picture laid out. So not to say, well, no, he can have a chainsaw, but he can't have a shovel. I don't mean to be getting into that layer of detail, but anyway.
Financially, I don't know how it would be. I don't think it would be cheaper. If we're looking at it from a financial picture only, I don't think it's cheaper to contract, because even if you contract, you're still going to need a maintenance person. You still need somebody to be doing things around here. And your landscaping is doing your mowing primarily. What do we do in the winter when we need a driveway, or not the driveway, but like the parking lot shoveled or the sidewalk shoveled? The landscaping company is not going to do that. So we still have to have.
Yeah, the thing is that I've got some landscapers on a spreadsheet, and I've got about 5. I was going to show them to everybody, especially the mayor, in case she's already looked at them. But I won't call anybody until I check with everybody in case somebody knows something. But I've got 5 so far, commercial landscapers. They may do residential also, but they say they're commercial. They do snow removal as well. They do the spring clean, the fall clean, the lawn mowing, trimming, whatever else you want them to do. And they also do snow removal in the winter. So it's a package, okay? And generally it's a package deal that you buy. And I'm not saying it isn't $500,000. I'm just saying it's a package that you buy. Until we go out and get some bids, we're not going to know what that looks like. But I would say that, let's say we did. But you're right. If we did do that and it includes snow removal, I think we still have to have some minimum, my opinion, we still have to have some minimum equipment for Chipper. Whether that's a snow blower or whether that is a trimmer, and you know, he's already got a lawnmower, but maybe it's not an industrial lawnmower, commercial lawnmower, but it's a lawnmower. He's going to have some tools that if a tree limb falls down, we want to have a chainsaw and a trailer. There's some basic things that we're going to need, and some he already has, and some that he's requested, makes sense, so that he can do emergency maintenance. For certain, and then we have to decide at what level that emergency maintenance would be, we would want them to do, or when we want to just wait till, or pay for someone to do emergency, this, that, or the other. So yeah, there's a balance, but I think if the other thing is to look at how much time does our internal person now spend in the spring and summer just mowing and nothing else. And if they weren't doing that, what else could they or would they be doing? So that's something else to look at as well.
I don't know how they don't spend a significant amount of time mowing. So
I
that-
would think they would spend during,
Most of their
especially
time.
the spring, a significant amount of time, yeah. So,
So I'm gonna just, I think there's also gonna be a benefit that's not a cost benefit of having it done internally. I think over analyzing everything, you're never gonna figure out exactly what it's gonna cost you until you do it. We know
yeah,
approximately what MI Homes is paying right now, and I believe it was what, around $30,000 for them for this season, and that was just the basic mowing services. So if we just bank it on the $30,000 plus the old section, we can get a roundabout number. I mean, that gives you a quick, this is what it is. Over 3 years, that's going to be over $90,000. What can we do? I understand if we buy this equipment, I understand we need somewhere to put it. There's likely going to be a place to put it, at least for right now, as soon as the EMS truck is gone. So is it something that if we eventually get a shed, we eventually do this or that? That's all going to be down the road. We cannot, I would prefer it be in-house. You do need more than one person. I would tell you that even having 2 people right now, I have plenty of stuff for them to do. I mean, I could literally keep them busy. I'm not sure why this, we're striping the, whatever it is. There's going to be leaves everywhere that we're going to have to figure out how to get them to the street. There is, they do go through the village and pick up trash and things like that. After the trash goes through there, things blow around. They do that once every, whatever. I wanted to get those stop bars painted where we did that last year. We've not had time to go do the stop bars because we've been busy doing other things. We could easily use another, another set of hands. I would not do this without another person or 2. My view is another part-time person, and then knowing that we're going to have an additional seasonal person in the summertime too. Me personally, I would like to see it all taken in-house. We aren't just another number. To me, it's not worth. I think we can analyze it till we're purple. Like you said, you're doing landscaping, you're doing this, you're doing that. There's so much stuff that we could have them do just from clearing out lakes from, the logs from the lake. Brian can't do that on his own. We had the roofing repair that we had to spend $2,200 on. Had we had 2 people, that's something Brian could have done. And he even said he could do that, but he needed help. So there are so many projects that we are spending money on, like you had alluded to, that if we outsource all of the landscape, then clearly we're not going to hire another person. But there's a lot of things that we could get done if we had 2 people. So there's a lot of projects that would have been able. We know that he helped open the pool, close the pool. There's a lot. I would love to see it in-house. I think it's important to get some of the figures, but I feel like we've already gotten a figure from MI. We know what they're spending. We got Josh's estimates last year. Actually, I got 2 different estimates last year for different things. Actually, not last year. I feel like this year's been that long. January, February, if you guys remember, I had already sent Joshua's information to everybody, how much he was compared to the other company. Anyways, I think we could talk about this till we're purple. I think it's going to be council just making a decision if you want to do it in-house or not. I mean, there is going to be additional costs this year. There is going to be different things like that. There's no question about it. But being able to have somebody cut down trees easily and do that kind of stuff, one maintenance person can't do it. So we're going to have to keep hiring stuff out. So you're never going to be able to figure out what it's really going to save you or really what it's going to cost you until you do it for a year or 2 and determine whether or not which way is better. Because again, it's not just the lawn mowing. It's the fact of a roof repair that we couldn't do because we didn't have 2 people. So it goes a lot further than that. It goes, the tree that fell on the bike path. One person cannot remove that tree by themselves. So it's not, we would have to get somebody to come out and do all of that. So there is more to it than what we're trying to talk about. So we can analyze everything on a piece of paper, but it's not going to get us where we need to be. We need to determine whether or not this is something that we want to do. I think we can all agree that the price difference is not going to be that drastic. Regardless, because again,
I don't agree. I don't see how you can even begin to. And I'm not talking about. I know that you're very you like to just make a quick decision. I get that, but.
No, I've thought about this for a year. I've been asking since January and I got
Yeah,
plenty of.
but you
price
don't,
quotes.
but you don't have enough numbers. I'm not saying you get down to that. You can't, as you say, because there's too many
You're
things
you're
that are
correct.
unknown.
Yeah.
But you can you can get enough numbers to give you an idea of what you're looking forward to. So I can't stand the drip, drip, drip. Okay, this is my from a finance point of view, I cannot stand the drip, drip, drip that we used to have more with the previous mayor, because she didn't think about anything. It was, oh, it's $1,000. Oh yeah, but now it's, but we didn't do, now it's this, it's another 1,000. Oh, now it's another 10,000. Oh, and it was just, it was a constant drip. And I just personally, I don't want to see us do a constant drip on this, just because we want to try it out without having any kind of vision. It's just that what we
We've had
normally do.
since January that I've been asking about this. It's now October.
Yeah.
We have spent a lot of money on
And you're
different
absolutely right. And we put this in the streets committee in January. And you're right. They didn't do it. Didn't happen. So you're right. Yes, you're absolutely right. All of it. Yes.
So, and we already, and my point again is we already have quite a bit of numbers. We can make this as elaborate as we want, and we can do it as basic as we want. We can buy $20,000 lawnmowers. We can buy $2,000 lawnmowers. So again, you can only compare what you can compare. So
Right.
It's going to be a
Right.
matter of what everybody decides they want to do, because I can elaborate these numbers up to here if I'm buying $20,000 lawnmowers. We don't need that. We know we don't need that.
All I want from Kim is to know, to the best of her ability, in terms of staff and outsourcing, how much it was spent so far this year on maintenance. Just the big numbers. How much are we spending on maintenance?
And then, but again, what's that going to do for you? You have a totally separate 250 home neighborhood that's not included in any of that.
We have the number we have on that. All right, I get that. We already have that. It was 30,000 is the number. 30,000 is the number. We know it's more.
No,
we know that they also had a secondary company that watered the trees. They also had another company that planted trees. We get that, and they had, yeah, but they, so yeah, we're just using the numbers we have, but at least we have some numbers. We're not just saying, oh, let's just go see how it works out. Voila.
Nobody's saying that, to be completely honest. That we've had plenty of numbers. We've had 10 months to discuss this. I've done plenty of work to go back through here. Again, we can spend as much as we want. There's a lot of projects that could have gotten done had we had 2 maintenance people. If
we had never talked about having 2 maintenance people this year.
We've talked about making this plan move
seasonal.
forward.
We did talk about, we have had the seasonal people. Seasonal people were in there, and that was available this year.
Putting together a maintenance team is something Tony has been begging for and asking for over 2 years.
I'm fully on board with Tony on that.
I know.
I don't think Tony is looking for a part-time seasonal people to help out Chipper. I think he's looking for full-time people.
I don't think he's looking for full-time people. I think he's looking for a team of working together. I don't think that they all need to be full-time, but I think it needs to be more than one person. Again, none of us know exactly, and I think maybe nobody will agree with this, but I don't think anybody knows what this new development is going to do as far as maintenance. We have no idea what we're in for. I can tell you what I've seen and the phone calls that I've had to make to get done. And one person is not going to do it. 2 people are not going to do it. And it's not anything to do with just lawn care.
Okay,
So it's a lot.
Quick question, clarification here.
Yes.
Because it sounds like, and we're kind of going around in circles, and whole council needs to go on this. So currently, of course, we have Chipper. He is part-time year-round, correct?
Yes.
Then we have his helper monkey over the summer, who is just seasonal.
Correct. Usually, I believe it was pretty much May through August.
Would we be looking, so I guess what it sounds like, if we hired one more year-round person at Chip, and Chipper's not full-time, he's part-time, right?
Correct.
One more part-time year-round person, that would definitely take care of the summer then. Hopefully, I don't know, one extra person might not be able to cover all the new area, but I can't imagine that, you know, it would take you more than 5 days to mow and do mulch and stuff you need to do down there. And then big projects you could put, you know, I mean, it maybe involves having more than one lawnmower, I don't know. Or just having that lawn, I mean, if you run that thing 24/7, it's gonna burn out soon anyway. So
Right.
I think the cost of having two and running them half as much, or one and running it to death, is about the same. Would there be enough stuff in the winter? I'm finally getting to my question. In the winter for that 2-person all year part-time people to do?
In my opinion, yes.
Okay.
I mean, again, it's going to depend on exactly how much we do. Like right now, they could easily be in the lake cutting out trees. They could easily be
Yeah.
removing that. To be honest with you, if we had 2 people, I don't know that we would be paying $2,000 for these people to come in and do that. A couple chainsaws, the dumpsters, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty-
and such, or
yeah,
crane.
right now, I mean, you have all of the leaves that are falling at the community building throughout. So he was doing leaf blowing today. You're going to have the snow blowing here before long. There is, like I said, they're striping and painting the.
Let's put this on a work session, the next work session agenda, and I'm kind of coming around to hiring another part-time person, not in a contract, getting some equipment next year and building a maintenance department. And if in 3 years we find out it was the worst mistake ever, we can go out and contract people.
Here, here.
All
You
right.
sell the 2 lawnmowers that you spent money on.
Hmm?
I said you sell the 2 lawnmowers that you spent money on. And I don't think, and again, I don't think that you have to go out and buy everything tomorrow. I think that you
Yeah.
slowly, you know, you get the things that you need as you, and that's honestly, we've already been doing that because we do not, when the last maintenance person left, most of the tools that were used were his. So we have
That's why
come, I mean,
That's why we have a little gator that MCPA wants to use to have Santa drive around town in this.
and
Coming
you know
Christmas.
what? I think it's a great idea. I love it.
They make tractor kind of mowers that have PTOs. You can use anything from small backhoes to front loaders to.
Again, I think it's going to be, we have a whole new area, and having somebody in-house versus having to pick up the phone and calling somebody every time a tree falls or every time this or that on the path is going to be 1,000 times easier. Every time there's a dead animal, every time there's this, it is very easy to be able to pick up the phone and call Brian to go do it. But at some point when we take all of that over, it's going to be a lot, because I email Eric at least 2 or 3 times a week with things that people need done over there as well. And that's all going to fall on us here in about 30 days, not even 2 weeks.
Kim, is there anything else that you wanted to bring up? Because it's now 5:23 and we should wrap this up.
Just quickly, there's really not any change, anything different in police. You can see the increases. I mean, overall increase is about, what is that, $13,000 between 20 and 21. Obviously our biggest change here. So again, this other contractual services would be the 175. This 90,000 difference, that's the money that we've accumulated that we were going to replace the medic vehicle with, that we can spend on the contract in the first year. So that'll bring that down. And then I just went ahead and did a 3% increase on that for 5 years, just so you could see what that looks like. There's nothing new here. Zoning. Okay, community services. Okay, so nothing really new here. We just, the geese management program that we were just talking about. Storm sewer, Senior's office. Nothing here. Sorry, just scrolling through just to make sure I'm not missing anything.
By all means, you are a invaluable resource.
Okay, so project pieces. Let's talk down here. I'm still putting in here, this is not set in stone, but this is, again, we have talked about the dredging and talked about the building. So I've got both of those things happening in 21. Just for reference purposes, we don't have to actually appropriate for them now if we don't want to, but here they are for reference so we can see what that would do. The dredging, we've got it as a $325,000 project for the North Lake. This is just the one lake that we had talked about. It's not both. And I don't know how accurate that number still is. I don't know if we've gotten any farther with that or not.
That sounds roughly right from my memory.
Okay. I don't know, is it still feasible that that could happen this year with the thing drained, or is that probably going to be a next year project?
No, we're still working on trying to get, I have 2 different people that I'm working with trying to get quotes for this year. But both are saying that spring, summer would be the best time to do that. This is a randomly dumb question, and I have my reason for asking it. I'm not going to go in detail because we're on time. If we were to do, I'll just say it this way. If we were to contract with somebody that says that they can actually dredge the North Lake and remove the sediment from there, and it is drastically lower than this $325,000, because we're just talking about the North Lake right now. Let's say it's 75 grand, humory. Is there absolutely any way to get that project? And I'm not talking engineering, I'm not talking anything. At this point, I'm just talking, and some of these people on here may be having a heart attack right now. I'm not saying that. I'm only talking about dredging it and removing it and getting it out. If there was a chance of doing it, let's say, I don't even know. I mean, 75, because I believe it's going to have to be bid. It's going to have to do that. So I have a feeling we're going to end up having to engineer and do all of that. But is there a dollar amount that if we spent on the North Lake, is there a dollar amount that we wouldn't necessarily have to do a loan, do whatever, and get it done? Like, is that 50,000? Is that 30,000? Is there a way to get close to X?
If we could do
or
it,
if we decided to do mucksuckers?
so let's say we did it for 100,000. What you're doing at $100,000 is you're putting it all in 21. Right now, it's spread about, let's say, $20,000 a year between 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
Okay.
So instead of spreading it over those 5 years, you do it all in 1 year, you end up in the same place at the end of the 5 years.
Okay. Would you give us a blessing if we found a way to get it dredged for roughly 100 grand, that you think it would be okay to do it in 2021? Again, just the North Lake. I don't know that there's an appetite to do it. I know there's a couple council people on here that are very interested in that.
For that dollar amount,
By all means.
yeah. Because the other piece of this is what you're seeing 5 years, but it's actually a 10-year note is what I had budgeted for. So this payment amount is $325,000 on a 10-year
Right.
debt issue. So, I mean, if you can, I would be so pleasantly surprised that you could.
Right. Again, we're just talking the North Lake. You know, when you start contracting with these big crazy companies, you end up paying the companies to hire out all these different vendors. And the guy even had told us, you know, going through him is going to be drastically more expensive. But of course, he puts all the parts and pieces together. If we were to part and piece it together and do just basically, this is not a, you know, somebody's uncle's going to go out there. It would be an actual company that would excavate all of it out of there, and then they would have somewhere to disperse the material, obviously with EPA and all of that, you know, doing it all the right way. That is one of the quotes we're working on. So again, I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know how much that will amount to.
Because I can't see it ever happening for less than 50, so it would have to be bid for sure.
Exactly. Now,
Has anyone determined a nominal depth that they want North Lake to be at?
Ideally, I would, I mean.
I mean, that makes a difference. And then
It
there was
will.
discussion of doing it in layers.
Again, that is one of the conversations that I'm having with one of them right now is, you know, exactly how much are we going to be removing from there? And that is one of the big topics that we're doing. And again, this is all going to be brought to you guys as soon as we can get some information.
Yeah,
You
this
guys-
this sounds like another meeting.
Oh yeah. So, but Kim's on here and I need to ask her that would she give us a
Mhm.
blessing if we found somebody that could actually get a majority of the stuff out of there. That way we can move forward on, you know, it's hard to do a plan of something if we're just going to continue to let it sit like that. So I think it would give a lot of people a lot of motivation if we really had you know, we're getting all of the muck out of here. Now, how do we stop it all from re-entering? You know, do we want to cut some trees back? Do we want to do this? Do we want to do that? And I think, again, starting with the North Lake, I mean, my preference is to start with the North Lake, not because it's smaller, but because it's cheaper.
And it's worse because
And
it's never
worse,
been
not because-
altered.
Correct.
There's more complaints about it.
Oh, I've gotten 2 today. So not from any of the residents around you guys, but just in general, not really what's going on questions. That's usually what I get, just what's going on. So again, I just kind of wanted Kim's blessing if that was, or, you know, could that be an option if we got somebody that was willing to do it for a substantially lower amount?
And the
All right.
other big project then, of course, is the renovation. And that's still in here. Again, we don't have to appropriate for it now. It's in here so that you're aware that it's there and that it was planned originally to be a summer 21 project. Again, I don't know where exactly we are on that. But that's built in here too.
Now, once we figure out exactly what we're going to do, and this is just a general finance, like, is this something that you and Leah will take care of, like applying for the loan through, or is that something that
So,
I need to, like, I guess that's just, and maybe this is more of an admin question that I need to ask you later on. Who technically does that?
when we talk, well, council obviously has to approve it.
Correct.
So they have to be involved at some point.
Correct.
But back when we were doing the 2899 piece, we approached a couple banks.
Okay.
And Huntington and Fifth Third, we spoke with, I remember specifically. And I think it was Huntington that was willing to do a direct placement, so we wouldn't have had to go like issue debt. They were willing to actually like, it's basically a loan.
Right.
And they would hold it themselves. They wouldn't sell it out to anyone else. So it's kind of meeting with the banks and seeing who's going to give us the best interest rate on those things, and then coming back for council approval. It's a couple pieces. There's the approving the project piece, and then there's the approving the finance piece.
Okay.
But we did a lot of work, the mayor and I did, on the finance side before it would have come to council.
Assuming that the contract is negotiated this year and the council approves moving forward on signing the contract, then the first phase would be, again, the design phase. And, you know, that we would know that amount before the end of the year, assuming that the contract would get done. We would know the amount, and it could be, you know, we had put aside originally about 70,000 for that part, or so it could be 70 or 80. Yeah, exactly. So
693.
yeah, so you know, that's what we want. We would want to make sure we had that part of the done. And then I believe, though, that they will be, as I understand it, they would be billing us hourly, monthly, as they work through the design process. So it wouldn't be a lump sum upfront, but you know, that would be, so hopefully we would know that, assuming that the mayor and the Gene Hollins and whoever else is involved in the contract and council agreed to it, we would know what that amount was anyway for the phase 1. So it may be, I think that's a good placeholder for now until we find out.
Perfect.
All right, so wrapping, is this a wrap then?
I think this is a wrap for tonight. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna run through a timeline here with you real quick.
Okay.
To have everything in place that you want to have in place. And we didn't really talk about this part tonight, but there's also a salary and wages ordinance that we have to approve annually. And I usually like to run that concurrently with the appropriation just because they are kind of dependent on each other. While the appropriation doesn't have the 30-day window, that salary and wage ordinance does. So ideally, the latest that we'd want to approve, the latest we can approve the budget itself is, I think the meeting's December 21st, right? So that's the latest that the budget can go. The salary ordinance can also go that day and be fine because it's not going to affect this year it won't affect anybody. It's just that we have to approve it to renew it, let's say. So it's okay if it goes here too. So the latest that we can start readings on the budget is going to be this, I don't know if the meeting's the 16th or the 23rd because of Thanksgiving, I think sometimes isn't it usually the week before. So the second meeting in November is when you're going to have to see the first reading of the budget. So I typically like to do it the first meeting in November so that the work session can talk about it. So if we want to, let's say, simmer on some of the things that we talked about for a couple of days, and then you guys can kind of let me know what direction you want the budget to look like. Or if you want me to just go ahead and plan it as if we're going to have a code enforcement person and as if we're going to have a maintenance department, I can do that too, and then we can change it. That's fine too.
Could we have one more finance meeting this month, say the last week of the month, on a Tuesday again, like we did, just so that?
If you are willing to have it a little later on a Tuesday, like the 27th, say, if you're willing to have it more, say, like 5:30,
Okay.
I could do that.
Yeah, I thought we were doing the 5 o'clock for you, so.
Yeah, if we can do it that way, I probably will be doing that one from home instead of from here. But we can do that.
So we could do it on the 27th. How's everybody else on the Tuesday, the 27th? I mean, for me, it could be 5:36, 6, it could be 7 as far as that goes. I don't really care.
I would much rather prefer 5 o'clock. Having 3 meetings in a row that don't get done until 9 o'clock at night. It's hard with 2 kids.
I'm fine with anything. I'm off on Tuesdays.
I'm not horribly important, so it doesn't matter as much about me, but I am probably not going to be able to do that day. I'm in a meeting. I'm in meeting. I have meetings that end at 5:50 and meetings that start again at 7. That's parent-teacher conference week for me.
What about, I'm not gonna do
I
that.
mean, I have a little bit of room at like 6 if we didn't go over, but I'm doing conferences all night. Now, I think the meeting could go without me, but you know.
If you don't mind if it does, Mark, then we can do that because I don't see the next week. I have something on the 2nd and the 3rd's the election. I don't think we want to do it that day.
It'll be the first meeting I've missed all year. There we go.
So we can do the 27th at 6, and then he can just stay until it's done. We can start with like the most important things.
That's fine by me too.
And then I don't know, Diane, if you have any appetite to do this, but on Monday night, we just have a couple legislation reading things and then go into a work session if you want to talk about maintenance and the code enforcement, if there's any appetite for it whatsoever. I mean, to me, it's really quick. There's 6 of us. Anybody have any appetite to take it over? If the answer is no, then we're going to hire it back in. I mean, to me, that's going to be a simple question. There's either an appetite or there's not. I know there's a couple people that are interested in it. I know that there's a couple people that are definitely not. So I think that, I don't know, I'm sure it'll turn into an hour. I'm joking ourselves if it's not, but I think it's two topics that we might be able to go in and
Yeah,
out.
I would like to, if we can, I think if we're able to quickly get through the legislation, then adjourn to a work session, then if we can get people to stick around a little longer. I know that, it's kind of nice because then we can have a shorter final meeting of a final council meeting, the 26th can be a shorter one as well, so.
Mhm. Agreed.
Okay, so the 19th, so the 19th is when we'll discuss, after the council meeting, we'll go into work session, discuss budget and code enforcement.
And if you're not
Sounds
gonna
good.
live stream that, if somebody can let me know what the outcome was, and then I can adjust that budget accordingly.
Absolutely.
On the 27th.
And then we'll have another finance meeting. So Tiffany, will you be able to tell Becky about that? Okay, thank you. And I have to apologize to Tiffany because I was sure I would remember to do the Zoom meeting for today, and I didn't. So I do apologize for that. Slip. Okay, so is that it then? We've got our next finance meeting. We've got agenda for after the council meeting work session on the 19th. We'll tell people about, and I think we're ready to leave. Yes? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great night. Talk to you later.
Night.
Bye.